indeed. Transformational Agenda series is on your favorite channel, the Joy News channel, every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Is the reason for which, of course, in studio with us now is Abraham Edu, host of the Transformational Agenda. Of course, you've seen the promo telling us what the program is seeking to achieve and the work being done by the Education Ministry in transforming the education sector. It's a good time to be talking to you, Bishop Bakwaba.
It's a pleasure, Bakwaba.
Right. So let's talk about the Transformation Agenda series. We've seen the Education Minister go around some schools, but I'm sure that it's beyond just the Education Minister, but talking entirely about the education sector. Why is the Transformation Agenda series necessary?
Thank you very much. I would say good afternoon to our cherished viewers. Congratulations. He tells me to tell you he likes what you're doing, and he acknowledges the fact that you are promoting the Transformation Agenda, especially your engagement with social media, trying to put a show live on Facebook. It helps, and we get a feedback, and we use that in trying to find out the bits and pieces of the things that we need to do to improve education in this country. Of course, the Transformation Agenda series on education is a baby of the Minister for Education, Honorable Dr. Yaw. You will realize that he has been engaged with a lot of media houses. He's a media friendly. He moves to media houses and tries to engage with Ghanaians, trying to explain what is really going on so that we are all on the same ladder in terms of education. Every country will develop through education. And so what we did was to go around schools, which the mandate that he gave us, to go around schools and find out what is happening in this country. Of course, we will talk about challenges that we have as a nation, but the President, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, prioritizing education, making education the centerpiece of administration, has invested so much into the education sector. And it is important for us to show Ghanaians exactly what is happening in the education sector. A lot is going on. That the Minister believes that Ghanaians seeing what we are achieving as a country, first of all, encourages us as a nation. He will tell you that we are not where we want to be, but certainly not where we used to be.
I see. But that brings into question, the extent to which government is transforming the education sector. You've been around the country. What sort of impact are these policies having on people?
Powerful. For example, let's look at the universities, for example. We had previously, you have to be a science student to be able to get into the engineering field. It's no longer the same as it used to be. Today we have a pre-engineering program that leads you into the engineering program to have a degree. So you go through first year pre-engineering program, and then after that you are enrolled into the engineering program. This has helped people who don't have science backgrounds, like people who are students of general arts, economics, what we call agric, and all these people, artists, visual arts students who come together, go through the process for 1 year and do that. You look at free senior high school policy, for example, that has really impacted so many lives. You go to the schools and some of the students you speak to, you realize that if not for free senior high school, they wouldn't be in the secondary school. It has really transformed lives of people. Go into our TVET centers. I heard the deputy director for TVET talk about the fact that government has invested about $12 billion into the TVET sector. We were at Abetifi, we went to Kibi Technical Institute, we went to Abetifi, we've gone to the Applied Technical Institute, Technology Institute at East Legon. Go and see the equipment that are there.
And that's why it's good that we're having this conversation, because what you're doing is to also get onto the ground and speak to some of the students, other stakeholders. I'm sure you've been interacting with them. What are we going to see in the next coming days as to how receptive or otherwise stakeholders have been of the kind of policies the Education Ministry has been running?
Well, of course, if you look at the documentaries that we're running, we try to engage stakeholders. We have engaged with teachers, parents, and students themselves. We've spoken to all of them, and they are really in touch with the ministry's programs. And you look at the students themselves. I believe strongly, if you look at our documentaries that we're going to be showing, you will see that in the next 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years, we're going to have students that will not be seeking for employment, but already employed, because they are coming out with skills and they have the knowledge to do a lot of things. You look at STEM innovation that we organized recently, and you realize that most of the students, these are students that are given the opportunity to come out with skills, innovations that are supposed to help solve some of the challenges that we have in this country. So I believe that together, bringing everybody together on board, gives us that opportunity to show to Ghanaians exactly what this country is heading towards. And I believe in the next 5 years, we're going to see massive transformation in.
Where have you been to? Where would the CS end? And is this just the start of many more of the showcasing of activities to come?
Yes, of course. The minister believes that, the Transformation Agenda series is actually for the Ministry of Education, trying to tell Ghanaians, show Ghanaians what we are doing as a country in the education sector. Right. So we are gradually heading towards the level where we are able to tell the Ghanaian exactly what is happening in the education sector. So it is not about, we may not say that we have a lifespan to it. It's just going to go forward and showing Ghanaians exactly the things that are happening in our schools and how it's going to transform the entire country.
And speaking of the Education Ministry itself, the Sector Minister, Dr. Yao Aduchim, has come under a sharp focus in the series. What kind of a role has he played in pushing this agenda? Well,
of course, I started by saying that is his baby, right? Now, the Minister for Education has been, the centerpiece of this whole program. Of course, when we do the recordings and we come, he has time to sit and watch the video and make commendations and tell us, do this, do that, and that, put it all together. He has been engineering this program. He actually tells us go to this school. And one of the beautiful things about this documentary we run is that we go to these schools, pick up the videos, we come. Some schools may have certain challenges. It's through this video that is able to identify some of those challenges. For example, you go to a school, bring the recording, he watches and said, these chairs are not good for this student. These beds are not good.
Oh, really? He does that?
Oh, yes, he does. And one beautiful thing about the Minister for Education, Dr. Yao Aduchim, is that he solves problems just as they come before him. So you go, he watches while he's watching the video, he's making calls, he's calling teachers. We went to one school with a similar situation. By the time we left the school, 15 minutes, the headmistress had called me that people have been called to come and solve the problem within 15 minutes after we left there. So he's really been supportive of this program. Of course, it's his baby and his idea. And so he doesn't play with it.
So what sort of an impact would you want this series to leave on parents and members of the general public who in the coming days be watching this on the Joy News channel?
Of course, I would like every Ghanaian who is watching this program to understand one thing, that your children that are in school are not just being fed with, excuse my language, as we would say, junk meals. They are being fed well with the requisite knowledge. We are in the 21st century. The child who is in class 2 in Ghana is going to compete with that child who is in Japan, the US, who is also in the same level. And so if we don't speed up our education system, if we don't get into the sciences like the president would want us to do, and we don't do that, we're going to find ourselves in a situation where you have students that are not fit for the global market. And so what the government has done is to put all these things together and trying to make sure that the child that is going through the school is being taught the right things. They have the right equipment. You go to the labs that we have built and realize that experiments that they are running, the same experiment that have been running in first-class schools and all these things. So this is actually to tell the parents that, look, we have a good system in this country that is working. Students are doing very well. They are being taught well. For example, in 2022, the whole of West Africa, we had the first and second best student coming from Ghana. If you go to a school like Mampon Presby, we had this, the pass rate, students that are getting to the university in 2021, 5.3, and 2022 is shot up to 57.3. So it tells you that something good is happening. And so Ghanaians should just know that the education ministry hasn't failed.
Will you be highlighting the challenges as well? Because, the feeling is, well, you're saying Transformation Agenda series, transformation should come with a true reflection of the challenges the sector is facing, so the authorities are able to deal with it.
Okay, so all right. So the minister tells a story about a man who drew, a teacher who drew on the board a black spot on a white, surface, and he asked the student what they see, and all the students were talking about the black spot and forgetting about the white area. I started by telling you that if you go to these schools to take up these documentaries, there are issues that we get information as to this is not right, has to be dealt with. The moment we come, he does not just watch the documentary, he tries to solve some of these problems. So we may not come on the television to show maybe a school chair that is, zigzag or whatever, but then those problems that are seen are actually worked on by the minister. None of those things. If you go to a school and we see that there's an issue, that is what he tells us to do. We report to him and he's able to deal with all those things.
Policy measures. How is this transformative or transformation agenda series going to deal with that? By first of all creating a platform to take feedback and also listen to what it is that government intends to do in the coming days. Are you highlighting that as well?
We are doing that. Of course, like I started by telling you, your channel does so well by putting the program on Facebook. So we have, and if you watch the documentary, there's a number that's on the screen. We receive feedback. And one beautiful thing is that as at the time that program is being shown, the phone that had that phone is with me. The moment a message comes on the phone, I forward it immediately to the minister. He responds immediately. That's how he works. So we are trying to ensure that people also understand.
So you're giving real-time solution to the feedback that...
Yes, of course. Every information, everyone at the minister's secretariat,
right.
As soon as information is received, if you have been with the minister before, at any point in time, you go before him, you are talking about a challenge. He doesn't say go and come. Immediately as you're talking, he calls whoever is responsible. That's how he solves problems. So as we receive the feedback, he's in the know. He knows everything about whatever we are doing. So the feedback is actually helping us to also understand what is happening in there. Remember that when he visited the schools, one of the reasons for which he visited the school was to have a first-hand information, the reality of issues. So visiting such schools gives him the opportunity to know exactly what is on the back, at the back. I mean, not allowing someone to come and tell him the story, but he goes to see it himself.
Of course, the Ministry of Education is a very big institution. There are other agencies, and that the Ministry, the Ghana Education Service, and other agencies. Are all these agencies aligned, and will they be featured as well?
Of course, yes. The transformational agenda is 360-degree kind of a thing. We have send laws. We feature send laws. We have videos that are going to be shown on send laws. We have other organizations. We have GEOP. We have Gallup. We have several programs and interventions and agencies. We have dealt with NASIA. We have dealt with several agencies that are under the ministry. We have dealt with NACA, of course. And so some of these agencies are also going to come on board and tell us some of the achievements that they've done. We recently did a documentary on Nelly, which will also be shown. So you have all these agencies that are under the Ministry of Education that are also coming on board to really expose to Ghanaians exactly.
Really exciting times ahead. Abraham, if there's a message that you want to leave our viewers with, what would that be?
All right. So I would like to first of all thank the Honourable Minister, Dr. Yawase Duchum, who is also the MP for Boston constituency. He's been a very great leader. Of course, you heard the president say he's one of the best appointments that he's made as president. He's done so, and I just want to say thank you very much, Honorable Dr. Yawase Duchum. And also, I want to tell Ghanaians that this country is really moving forward in the area of education. We should be grateful to God. I want to thank the president for all that he's doing for this country. And I believe that in the coming days, Ghanaians are going to see this documentary and appreciate what we have achieved as a nation. Thank you very much.
Grateful. Abraham Edu, host of Transformation Agenda series here on the Joy News channel. Tuesdays, right?
Yes.
Tuesdays, 6:30 p.m. on the Joy News channel. You'd be watching all of the policy interventions in the area of education. Let's stay.